This morning we are coming back home to Oyo State to look at the race for 2027 elections, the governorship election in the state. We have one of the governorship hopefuls with us this morning. Is a member of the opposition in the state. He's a member of the All Progressives Congress APC. Is one of those who are hoping to get the ticket either via consensus or via direct primaries of the APC. I'm talking of Dr. Ayobami Lam-Adesina. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the podium. Good morning. Good to have you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so because I've seen your, pictures everywhere, so good to see you in person and have you in the studio. And like I said, there's a long list of people who want to get the ticket of the party. Not just within your party. In fact, everywhere you turn now, you see all kinds of names in the city of Ibadan, all kinds of billboards, different personalities wanting to occupy that number one seat. So let me start by asking you, what do you think? Sets you apart from those people? What do you think distinguishes you? What do you think qualifies you to be governor of Oyo State?
Thank you very much. I think, first of all, let me say hello to all our listeners at home. Good morning. In Yoruba, they will say Ojumare. That's one. For me, I think there is a need for us to focus on the next steps for your state vis-a-vis the people, because at the end of the day, democratic process, the key element of it is the people.
Right.
From my sort of point of view, I've been very fortunate in my life to meet Chief Obafemi Awolowo when he was alive. He's the man who sets the kind of the pace for the political economy of not just Oyo State, but the Southwest in general. And he talked about, which he practicalized when he was the Premier of the Western region, he talked about the provision of the basic essentials of life for the people. And I, based on my background, like I usually say to people, I was born by the former governor of Oyo State, Ayobami Lam-Adesina, and my mother's name is Alhaja Saratu Adesina.
So you come from a privileged background?
But not a privileged background, actually, because if you look at it from the point of view of the fact that my father was born in Isalebode. I don't know whether you know Ibadan very well. Isalebode. When I was born, my father was in the university at that time, and my mother was in the training school. I was born and I started my life in Idiaire, which is not too far away from Isalebode. And my grandmother used to take me to school. So I started my life in Idiaire. So I'm not so sure you will call that a privileged background. Father in the university, mother in the training school.
No, I mean, because that's what comes to mind, really. Son of former governor. That's what comes to mind.
Well, the former governor, before he became the governor of Oyo State.
You were already an adult at the time.
He started his life as a teacher.
Right.
He was a school principal. He taught quite a number of people. One of the people he taught as a teacher happens to be Senator Abiola Ajimobi of the blessed memory, and quite a number of people who have been very successful in life. So my father started from a humble beginning. I am starting from a humble beginning as well. My belief is that our people should enjoy the basic essentials of life. It is not about the personality. It's about where are we right now. What do I mean by that? I went to Ibadan Grammar School.
Right.
And Chief Baba Ige went to Ibadan Grammar School. My father went to Loyola College. I'm sure you probably went to a public school as well.
Yeah, I did.
The question will then be, can I send my child or my grandchild to Ibadan Grammar School, a public school? So if you twist it on his head, Ayobami Lam-Adesina went to Loyola College, public school. Chief Baba Ige went to Ibadan Grammar School, public school. They ended up as the governor of Oyo State, old Oyo State and new Oyo State. Can someone who come from Isalebode like my dad, or Idiare like me, or Beyerunka Bonfoto, can they become the governor of Oyo State? So I believe there should be equal opportunities for all. Now, you can link that to the issue of security. If you don't allow someone who comes from this background to thrive, then we are looking for trouble. And Chibawilo, how many years ago, even before we were born, saw that vision, has objective around that vision, implemented that vision. So at the end, what does that amount to? We used to produce the best doctors in the Southwest, including Oyo State, the best engineers, the best accountants, the best educationists, and so on.
So you think the current administration have derailed from that vision?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. They don't. I'm not saying that they haven't done anything good.
But in terms of education.
But in terms of education, if I ask you, can you send your son or your daughter to the public school that you went to? What will be the answer? You're shaking your head.
No, I'm just listening to you. I'm the one asking the question.
Well, you are asking.
I'm listening to you.
You are asking the question
because I mean, you are the one running for office, and
yes.
You've obviously seen some deficiencies, areas you want to fix, right?
Yes.
And from your submission so far, it looks like education is priority for you.
I think it's priority for all of us.
Right.
That's the reason why I'm throwing the question to you, sir.
So what's your assessment of the education right now?
Yes.
Based on the current administration, because I mean, your party was there for about 8 years,
yes,
and then they came in,
yes,
almost 8 years now,
yes,
because the administration is winding up as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's your assessment of how things have been so far in the last 8 years? Because you've prioritized education in your submission.
Yes, the quality of education is pretty low.
Right.
And you have to start from the environment that children are being taught. I'm sure you are moving around the state, around Ibadan. There are some of the buildings, school buildings, that wouldn't have a roof. There are some schools with no chairs, tables and chairs. When I was in school, there were tables and chairs. The buildings were solid. So that sort of environment, the teachers' condition of service is not very good. Now, let me be very clear.
Right.
There are certain things that the government of the day have done that are very good.
Okay. Even in that sector?
Not in that sector.
Okay, so in education?
No.
Zero?
Yeah, zero.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, they didn't pay attention to the public school. What they focus their attention on the wealthy, not.
So
they have not.
What would you do differently then in that sector particularly?
All of us can go. All of our children can go. We parents, we can all afford to pay for a private institution for our kids.
Right.
One of the major objectives of a government is to ensure that public services provide quality services for the population.
Okay.
Most especially people who are not wealthy. So if I become the governor of Oyo State, I will improve the quality of education that we provide in this state, most especially in public schools, which will then mean that anybody from any background will go to the schools and get public education, just the same way as Chief Baba Bola Ige of the blessed memory went to a public school, even a grammar school.
When you hear governors talk sometimes, one of the things they talk about is paucity of funds. I think during the Ayobami administration, there was this policy of school governing board where, parents were required to pay a token because at the time it was said that government cannot do it alone, that there was no funds, right? So if you have all these lofty ideas about improving the education sector, the standard, the environment, quality of teaching, quality of service, the question would then be, where would the funds come from?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, remove all subsidy.
Right.
Since that time, the revenue coming to the states have grown a couple of folds. That's money for us to develop our educational sector, for example. So there will be money. At this time, the government have practically relieved its responsibility. It's the old boys and the old girls of majority of the secondary schools in Ibadan that are actually developing the schools. That's not good enough. I'm not saying that old boys and old girls shouldn't contribute to the development of a school, but they should be working in collaboration with the government. The government will need to fulfill their responsibility And the old boys, because of the fact that they have the love of their schools at heart, should fulfill their responsibility. So if I were the governor of Oyo State, I'll make sure that we, as a government, fulfill our responsibility. Ensure that the learning environment of learning for our children is up to scratch. It's quality environment, quality teachers, improve their quality of service, practically trying to encourage them so that we can the past, I mean, the present should be better than the past.
Right.
For me. It seems today the present is not as good as the past. So there is a need for us to go back to a situation in which at the end the future will be better than the present.
So are you anchoring your policies on some of the things we saw under your late father's administration?
To some extent, yes. And I will modernize them. Because that was how many years ago now?
Quite a long time ago.
Quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on education. I'm going to focus on health. I'm going to focus on agriculture. I'm going to focus on job creation. I'm going to focus on rural development, which will be linked with agriculture anyway. And I'm also going to focus on security. It is very, very important that we have a population that have the basic essentials of life, including electricity. It's very, very important.
Okay, so I think I asked you a question earlier.
Yes.
I don't know if you were able to answer it.
Okay.
One of the things I asked, before we go back into your policy again, because we're in the season of politics, right? You can have all the lofty ideas, but you must also be certain about your path to victory, right?
Yes.
And the first hurdle for you is within your party. You know, there are many people, with ambition. Outside of your party too, there are quite a number of people that have ambition, that even when you sit down with them, they also speak of their lofty ideas and their policies and all of that. So within your party, I know you're aware that the new electoral law has taken away indirect primaries. So
that's correct.
It's either consensus option or a direct primary. And there are, in politics, they say 2 + 2 is not always 4, right? Well, but sometimes if you put your ear to the ground, you hear things from the grapevine. There are things being said in the media circle that, Senator Sharafadin Ali is likely to emerge as a consensus candidate. Does it bother you?
It doesn't bother me.
Right.
Because leaders of the party, including the president, elder statesmen like Chief Oloruntoba, Baba Bisia Konde, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, they worked with my father.
They were contemporaries.
They fought for this democracy with my father. Let me put it that way.
Right.
You will recall that my father went to jail for this democracy. They had objectives, very clear objectives. And I know that even though my father is not alive anymore, the objective they fought for will guide their contribution when it comes to picking a candidate, to serve this state. It is very, very important. People like my father, people like Chibola Ige are no more, but the philosophy that they spent the whole of their life, fighting for, alongside the president, alongside Chief Oloruntoba, alongside Chief Bisia Konde, alongside Otumba Niyi Adebayo, and including Baba Tajuddin Olusi in Lagos. They will protect that interest in their absence. So,
and do you think it represents that interest?
Absolutely. By
virtue of your DNA.
It's not a question of DNA. It's a question of it's a question of courage. That's number one. It's a question of quality. That's number one. It's a question of belief. That's number three. Remember, my father wasn't rich. But he spent the whole of his life fighting on behalf of the people. There is a middle letter when you talk about our party.
Please, so you were making a point about how your father, wasn't born rich, but he was able to fight all his life to get the position that he did. and then it was able to also contribute to the building of this democracy, and you're expressing your confidence that those who were his contemporaries at the time would not want to see that those values, those ideals betrayed by the choice that they make if the party decides to go the consensus way.
Yes. The staple of the there is this middle letter in the party's name, P.
Progressives.
Thank you.
Right.
The staple of the progressives, it's dwindling. Many of them have passed away. The ones that are still alive, I believe it's important that they must protect the interests of their colleagues who have moved on.
And protecting that interest means choosing you. Protecting
that interest means protecting the philosophy that they fought for.
And you represent that philosophy.
Exactly. This is not about me. This is not about me.
Right.
Because I've been to school, I've come out, I've worked in my life. I worked in an environment that they don't know Lam-Adesina. I worked in England. I became a director. Along the line, I was offered a job by the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. I said, my father is still out there. I was also offered a job by Senator Abiola Ajimobi. I said, you can't have me in the government because it will be as my father led the party to victory.
Yeah.
I represent the values of these great men, in the one that have passed away that I've mentioned to you, and the ones that are still alive. If it has been the other way around, my father is alive, he will protect those values. He will protect those values. And his colleagues who are still alive that I've just mentioned, they know that he will protect those values. This is not about me. This is about the philosophy that they fought for.
Some might say that you're sounding like it should be yours, like you're entitled to it because Baba Konde was your father's colleague as governor at the time.
Yes.
Because Chief Oshoba was your father's colleague at the time as governor, that therefore you now as the son, deserve to be there, should be there, that you feel entitled to it.
Name me one out of the people who have come out who will protect that interest, who will protect the philosophy of Obafemi Awolowo that these people protected all their life. Good education for our kids, a good healthcare system, jobs for our kids coming out of school, protect the security of our people so that they can sleep with their two eyes closed, improve the welfare of the common people, as well as the people who are laboring day and night, teachers, civil servants, and so on and so forth, to protect this state. Who amongst these people have got the background, have got the experience, have got that philosophy embedded in their blood?
Senator Sharafa is a 7th senator. That's experience in public service, former secretary to the state government as well.
Does he believe in the philosophy of these people that I've just mentioned to you? I don't have a problem with Senator Sharafa Dinari.
Yes.
So please, but some of these people are people that I have been close to all my life.
Right.
And I said to you, I met Chief Obafemi Awolowo when he was alive. These are philosophy that are embedded in my life. They are just embedded in my life. Let me give you a story.
Right.
Let me give you a story. When I finished, I went to University of Ife. It's now Obafemi Awolowo University. Then I had to go and serve, do my NYSC. When I was posted to Benue State. My mother said, Benue State. I can't let him go to Benue State though. My father said no, that's where his destiny took him. That's where I will go. He
wasn't in office at the time.
He wasn't in office, but he was influential enough,
yes,
to change that posting for me. As if that is not enough. My sister, Adenike, is in England now. Do you know where he took him? Maiduguri. My mother was going to collapse on that day when they said Maiduguri. And
things had not even deteriorated to this level at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he said, "Are you going to?" Well, okay, if we say Ayobami is a boy, what about your daughter? Are you going to allow her to go to Maiduguri? My father said that's where her destiny took her. He should go. She went to Maiduguri. What am I trying to say to you? The philosophy is embedded in my blood.
So let's say, hypothetically speaking, because
Yes.
I mean, we cannot preempt what's going to happen, right?
Absolutely.
We don't see the future. But hypothetically speaking, let's say you don't get chosen as a consensus candidate, or you don't emerge either by direct primaries or consensus. Well, what are the options you're considering? Because I mean, I've spoken to quite a number of aspirants within your party, and I know how things eventually pan out, right? 2019, your party got into a very deep crisis. 2023, you didn't recover. People had to move, from one party to another. There were complaints about how the primaries went. So if, hypothetically speaking, you don't get chosen, are you considering another platform to contest?
No.
For instance, you stay within the party.
If you
stay
don't-
loyal.
if you believe, this is what I learned from the people that I have mentioned to you. If you believe in the philosophy of the party, whatever happens, that philosophy wouldn't change. And that means I would not leave the party. If you believe in the philosophy of the party, the people that I have just mentioned to you, most especially my father,
Yes.
the party has been transforming.
He was in the AD at the time.
We transformed to AC, transformed to ACN,
ACN,
transformed to APC.
APC, yeah.
So that is the the philosophy. That's the driving force of Lam-Adesina, and that is always going to be the driving force of his son, Ayobami Lam-Adesina.
And when you ask people in Oyo State, about the APC,
Yes.
the earliest memory of the party would be the Ajimobi administration for 8 years. And some of the things people talk about, is that what they remember the administration for was salaries being owed, some comments made by the governor, which were interpreted by some as, not having quote unquote human face. And those are some of the issues that they had with the government at the time that they voted the current governor in. And there are those who say that they don't want to return to the days of the APC in Oyo State. So how do you convince people? Why should the people trust the APC again, given how the party governed the state for 8 years? Again, these are some of the things you hear from people, generally speaking, about their assessment of the Ajimobi administration.
I mean, people have different characteristics,
Right.
in life. You can look at Senator Abiola Ajimobi of the blessed memory. He may have certain characteristics different from the present governor. The question is, did he perform when he was in office?
Do you think he performed well?
I think so. Relatively well, yes. I mean, like I said, I don't even the present administration in Oyo State. There are certain things that they are doing right that I will continue if I get into office. Paying the salaries of workers and as and when it's due is very, very important, and we need to continue it. The construction of roads all over most especially the major roads, are very, very important. I'll build on that. I'll make sure that we sort out.
Because when I talk to young people, especially those who went to Lautech, they say they don't want to remember the crisis in Lautech during the Ajimobi administration. That if for anything, because of that, they don't want the APC back.
Well, I guess the question will then be, when Alhaji Lam-Adesina, my father, was the governor of Oyo State, Chief Bisi Akande was the governor of Osun State. Did you ever hear of any problems with Lautech? Like I said to colleagues, or like I usually say, I disagree with the present leadership of Oyo State sharing the assets of Lautech.
With the way they handled
the issue. I understand the objective behind it.
Right.
The reason is that they want to make sure that we don't have the university, going on strike. The workers in the university going on strike, and the students, staying at home for 3-4 years. But there is something about the example that Alhaji Lam-Adesina and Chief Bisi Akande, they work together to fund that university. They work together to make sure that university functioned really well. they worked together to make sure that university became the example of good practice for people to follow. And the question I ask myself, is that too much for two governors in the Southwest to work together to do the same? I don't think so.
So you blame it on the lack of cooperation at the time?
Absolutely.
Between, I think it was Governor Oyetola at the time in Oyo State and the current governor, that lack of collaboration between
They should have collaborated because the university is serving the interests of our people, the Yoruba people, Southwest Nigeria. While I understand the reason why they had to review the situation, I believe that they should have found a situation that will mean that they didn't have to share the assets of that university.
Okay, so you mentioned something earlier, I think when we went on the break, about the late Buhari's visit to your late father at the time.
Yes.
And when you look at past leaders, when we do comparison, it looks like we are very fond of, praising those who have ruled before and criticizing those who are there now. So I just want to get your, comparison between the class of 1999 to which your father belonged,
yes,
and the class of governors that we're seeing right now. What's your assessment of them? Because people talk about the class of Bola Ige, Lateef Jakonde, Olabisi Onabanjo and the likes. In fact, some people say those ones belong to a different world that we cannot see the likes of them anymore. And then they talk about the class of 99, your late father, the current president, interestingly, Baba Konde and all of that. So to the class of governors that we have now.
I mean, you see, this is what I.
Do you think the quality has dipped? Do you think?
I think
we've evolved over time.
I can speak for Oyo State.
Yes,
and I will repeat very strongly that there are quite a number of things. There are certain things that the government of Oyo State at the moment have done, which I believe are good, and I have already mentioned that.
Yes,
I've talked about the issue of payment of salaries, construction of roads, building houses, which, as far as I'm concerned, those houses are not affordable to the common people.
No, they're not.
They have the extension of the airport is a very good one. I mean, it was started by Ayobami Lam-Adesina, and so on and so forth. But generally speaking, there are certain things that, as from my experience of previous governments, most especially that of my late father, Ayobami Lam-Adesina, it's about human development. It's very, very key. Democracy is about the people.
And those indices are missing here.
And I've talked to you about education.
Yes.
I've talked to you about healthcare,
yes,
the healthcare system. And I know about the healthcare system because, I used to be a director in the national...
That's your line, I know. That's your line. Yes.
In the NHS in England.
UK, yeah.
And I have a foundation which is dedicated to the memory of my father. We check diabetes, we check high blood pressure, we check people's eyes. And the kind of result we get, it's terrible, And I think these are basic things that the government needs to focus on. And I ask myself the question: how many industries have the government of the day created over the last almost 7 years now? And I can't see much on the ground. And I compare that to the time when Ayobami Lam-Adesina was in government. I can see Exide, I can see a dairy industry, and so on and so forth. Which, as far as I'm concerned, you need industries for our kids when they come out of the university. They can have they can have employment. So and I look at the issue of agriculture. I look at all the farm settlements scattered all over the state. About 8 of them.
Yes,
I can't see development there.
They talk about Fashola, they talk about Akufo farm settlement. These were some of the high points of the of the government at the time.
Maybe you should take you should.
You don't see the result. Do you think it's overhyped? Do you think the government is overhyped?
I've been to Akufo. It's along the way.
Recently, you've been there.
Yeah.
You didn't see anything.
I didn't see. I can see. It's as if it's been taken over and somebody's trying to buy Akufo. I mean, Chibawlo sets this up. Fashola is there. It looks as if there is some estate that is coming up around the excuse me. We need to develop the agricultural sector. We need cheap foods coming into the main city. 28 out of the 33 local governments are rural. We need local autonomy. When you have local autonomy, all these things that I'm talking about, for example, local governments take care of primary schools. That's how a child starts in life. Quality education in primary school will start them off really well in life. Local government used to have Department of Health. Local government chairman tends to take security votes, just like the governor takes security votes. And we know security is a big issue for us.
Yeah.
If you don't have local autonomy, with 33 local governments, 28 of them rural, how do you want to make progress?
Well, from your analysis, riding on your turf, you say human capital development seems to be missing here. So,
Yes.
so sometimes you wonder why people seem to be praising the governor so much. You think his performance is overhyped? Do you think it's overhyped?
Well, I can see what I can see.
Yes.
And fortunately,
But overall, looking at it, you think it's overhyped?
I've not. Maybe I'm not hearing people do this overhype. My job as a citizen, as an indigenous of Oyo State, is to move around.
Yeah. And from your moving around, you
Yes.
really don't see anything.
I've been to Ogbomoso, I've been to Oyo, I've been to Okiogun, I've been to Ibarakwa, I'm in Ibadan. A fair level of development in Ibadan. Nothing.
So what would you rate him then? Say, out of 100?
I don't want to rate him because rating him is sending a signal he didn't do anything. And I believe that there are
you are an indigene of the state.
Yes,
You
yes.
have a right to. I mean, he's there to serve you.
Yes,
right.
he's there to serve.
Yes, he
me.
was
Yeah.
elected to serve you, so you can rate him. You can assess his performance.
What we need to do,
Right.
the Sheyi Makinde, His Excellency Governor Sheyi Makinde, is going to spend 8 years. He's going to move on. The question is, what should be our next step? Don't let us focus too much on the present leadership. Let's start thinking about
Because it's whatever the present leadership does that you will meet if elected.
Exactly.
You'll meet it there.
Yes.
And you try to correct, you
Yes.
try to improve upon it depending on what you see.
Exactly.
So it's important for you to pay attention to what is happening.
Which is exactly what I have done.
Yes.
And I have explained to you the areas where I think the government has done well. I've also explained to you the areas where I think the government haven't really done enough.
Because if you mention those areas, there are those who will say these are basic things generally. Because
Yes.
I mean, if you work, you expect to get paid,
Yes.
right? Payment of salaries. Do you think it should be counted as an achievement?
Well, that is Nigeria for you, isn't it?
I mean, don't you deserve to drive on good roads? I mean, should that be counted as an achievement?
that is Nigeria for you.
Right.
In the days of Ayobami Lam-Adesina et al., nobody pays attention to that. We will say, well, that's just their statutory obligation. Nigeria as a country, we have found ourselves in which, as I said earlier on, most especially the southwestern part of the country haven't produced in those days the best doctors, the best engineers,
Lawyers,
and the
everything.
best lawyers. We have found ourselves in a situation where mediocrity is now the order of the day. And so our standard is based on what I have just explained.
So the standard is very low now.
Exactly.
So do you think it stems from people's poor understanding of what governance actually looks like, what real governance is? Because when you go on, social media, you look at these things, you see people praising this governor, that governor. That's speaking generally now. And then you look at the road. It's probably like a 5-kilometer road, and the argument starts that, oh, this is the best governor in Nigeria, the most performing. So is it that people don't understand what governance looks like, or the fact that those who are elected have so condition the mind of people to think that, oh, me paying your salary on time means that I'm doing you a favor, or fulfilling the contracts that both of us signed in the first place?
Very good question. When I talk about, when I use Baba Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Baba Chief Bolaige, and Baba Alhaji Lam-Adesina, and Senator Ajimobi as my standard, people used to query me. That's the standard. So that's what good looks like. Because when you go, this building was built by who? Obafemi Awolowo.
Of course.
Abi?
Over 60 years ago.
Over 60 years ago.
Right.
You got it?
Yes.
Liberty Stadium was built by who?
Same person.
Obafemi Awolowo. We talk about free education where we produce all these doctors. Who started it? Obafemi Awolowo. So that's the standard. That's what I believe should be the standard. That's what I represent. And that's what the president of the country, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, represents.
You think he represents the virtues of Awolowo?
Exactly, because his mother, Mama Abubakar Mogaji, was an action group women leader in Lagos. She was close to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And he fought alongside with my...
So do you think if Awolowo were alive today, would run the country the way President Tinubu is running it?
The circumstances are different now. But the difficult decisions that President Ahmed Bola Tinubu have taken, he will take them. He will remove all subsidy. He will provide the state with more revenue. He will fight for local autonomy. He will enact this electricity at 2000.
Do you think he would have taken those decisions without social safety nets for people? Because people are just, looks like people are left hanging now to the whims and caprices of the, how do they call that thing now? Forces of demand and supply. That's what is happening right now.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We have 3 tiers of government in this country. The federal government, the state government, the local government. Why is it that each time there is a problem, we look at the federal government? What about the state government? Because
the federal government sets the fiscal monetary policy of the country.
Yes.
Because the federal government is also, responsible for the protection of the country's territorial integrity.
Exactly.
So that there won't be incursion, like we've been saying, of criminal element from our porous borders. Because the job of this, the large chunk of it, falls on the table of the federal government. Insecurity, economic hardship.
Yes.
Yes.
So my own description of the federal government is simply this. They take control of the national fiscal policy. They take out all subsidy. They get more revenue. They pass it on to the states. What should the state be using it for? For the benefit of their people. Excuse me. I think I'm sure each of the state governments, they take security votes. What do they use it for? Where is it coming from? It's coming from this same federal government.
Well, technically, they have a commissioner that answers to the IG. They have probably a GOC that answers to the chief of army staff.
They have set up Amatekun in the southwest.
Yes.
Are they providing them with what they need to be able to keep us safe? The federal government of Nigeria can't do everything. That's the reason why in the constitution we have 3 tiers of government. And also, by the way, the local government are supposed to be getting their revenue. The state government allowing the local government to operate. The local government also collect security votes. Are they collecting the security votes? So, I'm not
Sounds
here.
like you're exonerating the
No. I'm not here. I'm not here as the spokesman of the federal government.
Yeah.
But there is something about fear. There is something about clear understanding. And I struggle with people when they start to blame the government for everything. When I have just mentioned to you, we are collecting more revenue. That revenue is going to the states, and we are asking the question. We are asking the question: what are the state governments doing with the more money revenue that they are collecting from the federal government? That's one. They are also collecting internally generated revenue. What are they doing with that money? It's very, very important we ask the question. But if you say that you deregulate the electricity sector, whereby they can generate and distribute electricity, what have they done so far? Remember, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria used to be the governor of Lagos State.
Yes.
Abi?
Yes.
He implemented independent electricity board. So there is in Lagos they have independent electricity generation there. I think they have replicated the same thing in Abia State. What are we doing? Most especially where I come from. I mean, I'm first and foremost a Yoruba man. What are we doing in the southwest?
But perhaps maybe people are blaming the president because, at that subsidy is gone statement alone, I remember the effect it had. A lot of household incomes were eroded. Even up till now, people are struggling, to meet up with their, daily cost of living, transport, cost of food, all of that, and that stems from that singular policy of subsidy removal.
Yes.
So that's why people are looking at the president again, because a state governor cannot make that call. It has to come from the president.
Yes. So when let me give you an example. When I was young, and they used to wake me up to go to school in the morning, there are certain times when I won't want to wake up to go to school.
Yes.
Difficult decisions are going to be made. They will have consequences. The president made a difficult decision that he will remove all subsidy. There is no doubt that people will struggle with that policy at the beginning. However, I submit to you that now more revenue is being generated. They are passing the revenue to the state government. They should be using that money to neutralize the challenges for the people.
And there are those who also say that the president's in a path towards creating a one-party state, that is weakening the opposition. He wants to be coronated as the president of the country in 2027. They say he might be the only one on the ballot. In fact, there are those who are doing the comparison between the famous statement by late Bola Ige, the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. That's what the political parties that we have now have become under the president. That is on the path towards being a dictator. That's what the APC is building.
I know President Ahmed Bola Tinubu personally.
Yes.
I don't think he's the kind of person who is going to work towards a one-party state.
What did you think? Remember, headed towards that direction.
Remember, we were in opposition for a very long time.
Yes, you were.
If other parties cannot manage their internal mechanism, is it Ahmed Bola Tinubu's fault?
Is it a coincidence then that every party you turn to now, there's one form of crisis or the other? Is it just a coincidence?
So if your neighbor is having a problem with their generator, it's your fault.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ayobami Lam-Adesina. It's been a very interesting conversation with you on the podium this morning. I wish you all the best in your governorship ambition, and I hope that you are able to scale the hurdle up to the election level. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. I particularly enjoy your analysis of education and health, and I wish you all the best. Thank you, dear listener, for joining us. Don't forget to join us next Wednesday 11 to 12 and on Saturday 9 to 11. My name is Oloruntoba Yusuf. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday morning. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.